Hey guys. So for my inquiry, I decided to break a gender norm, and to do that, I wore pants to church on Sunday, which seems kind of silly, but it was the most effective thing I could think of, where it was something that doesn't really matter, but also everyone around me adheres to it like 1000%. Like, I can list on two fingers the number of times I've seen someone wear pants to church, a girl, and I remember because it stood out so clearly in my mind. Um, this is no commentary, by the way, on like any uh, church standards or policies or anything. Um, I'm very much not opposed to the norm. I just thought it'd be an interesting experience to have. And I fully expected going in to be very uncomfortable. Feel like I stood out quite a bit. Just get probably some weird looks. Just generally feel uncomfortable. I didn't think people would be rude, but I thought I'd you know feel a difference for sure. And I was very surprised at how normal I felt. Like, people were very kind. Well, I mean, there was no reaction. I was very surprised that there was such a small reaction. Like, we sat next to some people that we knew in sacrament meeting, and they didn't say anything or even really seemed to look at me weird. Then went to Sunday school, and again, just no reaction. One girl complimented the shirt I was wearing, so that was positive, but I didn't notice any weird looks. Definitely no comments. I felt fine. I forgot that I was doing it at one point. So it went much more smoothly than I anticipated, and that was great. It was definitely a really a good thing. I was happy. I think the hardest part was definitely just my own feelings and feeling super self-conscious. Cuz I knew I was different from every other woman in that building. And I was still was dressed up and looked nice. I just knew that I was different, and I don't very much enjoy being different in a crowd. I also think that my experience was easier because it was Sunday school during second hour, and so I got to stay with my husband, and in a mixed setting. I think if it were Relief Society and I was going into a meeting where it was all women and I was alone, I think it would have been a more stark contrast, and I would have felt more keenly that awareness of being the only one outside of the group, and that would have been a lot harder for me. Luckily, it wasn't like that. Um, so that was hard, and I imagine that is hard. One of the hardest parts for those who do break gender norms more frequently is feeling left out and singled out, and just generally uncomfortable in large group settings where they don't fit the norm. And I really sympathize with that because that would be super hard for me. Um, I think a key element of what made my experience okay was that there was such a welcoming culture in the church meetings where I was, that I think people are often taught not to make others feel bad for being different, to welcome and accept everybody, and that everyone's alike unto God. That idea that we welcome others no matter their differences, at least in theory, not always perfectly in practice, but that we should. And I thought that was very well carried out during my experience. I did not have anyone making any kind of negative reaction towards me, making me feel bad for the difference in the clothing I was wearing, and that helped me feel a lot better. I felt perfectly comfortable, even though I did stand out a little bit, and I would hope that others would have the same experience. And I think that prior work, that the counsel and the teachings that so many of us have been exposed to, created that welcoming environment. And I think that that's a lesson that I want to carry into my teaching. That as a teacher, I think it's my responsibility to create a safe environment for my students. That I need to make it clear that in my classroom, you know, bullying or any kind of negative language or talk to others is not allowed and will not be tolerated. And I expect everyone to be kind to everyone else, no matter what differences there are. And I think by creating those expectations and enforcing them regularly in my classroom, I can help everyone feel welcome, no matter what their differences may be, and hopefully create some attitudes in my students that they will then carry on into other classes and the rest of their lives. So I think it is so important that we learn to be empathetic to others and kind and open-minded so that we can all just get along and that we help everyone be happy no matter what their life circumstances are.